Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. I'm going to begin this week with a few questions. Question number one, how are you liking these new book reviews I have been sharing with you in the last few episodes? I want to know. Want me to keep doing them? Send me a message, give me a yes or a no or an iTunes review. I would really appreciate it. Question number two is, have you downloaded your free copy of my new book, The Top Listing Agent Black Book? If no, then do it now. Simply go to TLABlackbook.com. Right. Today, I'm bringing you another book review. Why so many, you may ask? Well, I set an accountability with the listings on-demand agents that I work with to do the following in the last 100 days of this year. One, I set up three accountabilities, combined them into one big one, and that is number one, to release 10 new podcast episodes. And as of today, we released 9 so far, and we still have about 9 days left in the year. The good news is that it is already recorded and ready to get published. Accountability number two was to release 10 book reviews in addition to the 10 podcasts. The good news again is that they are all recorded, and I waited till the end of the year to publish them one after one. Why? Because this is the time of the year that no one is working and there is less competition. And the third accountability is to do some kind of exercise 75 days out of the last 100 days of the year. As of today, I have 70 done. Therefore, I need 5 more to go in the next days. Done deal. So the question is, why did I set up such an accountability? Because accountability works. It forces you to do what you say you are going to do, whether you like it or not. See, when you know there is someone watching you to see if you are following through on your commitments, you show up and you do the work. Now, what I did is massive accountability. I told the LOD members that if I miss any of these commitments, I would give each one of them $1,000 each. So as you can see, I have 5 figures on the line. This leaves me no choice but to do the work. Now, I do consider myself to be a man of discipline, and when I say I am going to do something, I do it. However, when I know that I need to push beyond my normal way of being, I seek help, whether that be a mentor or a friend or someone who will hold me accountable. I know if I did not set up this accountability, I most likely would not have done, or I most likely would have only done about 90% of what I said I would do, because this is a lot of work when it comes to producing that much content in a very short period of time. Now, as far as the result, I have lost 0 pounds working out. However, I think it is because I replaced a little bit of fat with a bit of muscle, and that is a good trade-off. And releasing all this new content had definitely given me a spike in income. And like I always say, when you do the work, you will get the results. And this leads us to the book we are reviewing this week, and it is Goals by Brian Tracy. Another classic must read, and truth be told, to any of you who have an Audible app and listen to audiobooks, Brian is not the most interesting person to listen to unless you 2x the speed. However, he is a genius. He is a master of what he does and what he teaches. And when I first dived into the personal development world 20 years ago, it was Brian Tracy's. It was a Brian Tracy course that I took that I totally transcribed the heck out of it and did every single assignment that he gave in the course, which gave me big breakthroughs and big quantum leaps in my way of thinking, in my way of feeling, and my way of increasing my income. So we have 3 objectives today. 1, to tell you or to let you know if you should buy the book. I am going to handle this one right now by saying, yes, buy the book, read it, then buy it on Audible and listen to it on 2x speed. And more importantly, make sure you do the work, as he gives you a checklist of things to do at the end of each chapter. Objective number 2 is to extract some inspiration from the book and pass it on to you. And number 3, to extract one exercise to pass on to you. And I got a good one for you guys today. So let's begin. The book is 278 pages of absolutely life-changing nuggets that you need in order for you to change your life for the better. Now, I'll tell you now, Brian hooks you from the get-go by telling you that this book is for ambitious people who want to get ahead faster. Yes, it is that kind of book. Keywords here are get ahead faster, as I feel most of us are already ambitious to a certain degree. He also shares what I believe are now outdated figures about how many millionaires there are now in America. As of the printing of this book, Brian said that in 1900, there were about 5,000 millionaires in America. By the year 2000, the number of millionaires had increased to more than 5 million. Most of them are self-made in one generation. And you and I, both being in the real estate industry, we know that about 80% of those millionaires have made, have made it with real estate. Now, at the time, these experts, at that time, whatever time the book was written, etc., experts were predicting that there would be another 10 to 20 million millionaires will be created in the next 2 decades. And I think we're 2 decades into it right now since 2000. We're at the end of the second decade. And well, if you know me, you know I am a research geek. So I had to visit my friend Google to get you all some figures. The expert prediction was spot on. As of today, there are 18.6 million millionaires in America. As a matter of fact, if Brian was telling us way back then that it is becoming easier nowadays to make more money, I am telling you today that it is easier to make money now than when he shared it with us many years back. So the question is, how do you earn more? Well, as I shared with you in previous episodes of this podcast, the answer was you become more. You focus on growing you, and all of a sudden, your business grows, and so does your bank account. Chapter 1 in the book is titled Unlock Your Potential. All successful people are intensely goal-oriented. This is how you begin. You begin by setting clear and concise goals. This way, you have something to focus on every single day. Brian says that your ability to set goals is the master skill of success. So let's do this now. I have a few questions for you. Yes, you, the one who is listening to the podcast, I have a few questions for you. So pay attention. The question is, have you set all your goals for the next 12 months? Have you set all your goals for the next 12 months? If yes, you are on track, my friend. And if not, then stop this recording right now. Scroll back a few episodes and do the work I asked you to do in the episode titled 2020 Vision for 2020. Anyways, just wanted to give you a quick checkup from the neck up before we keep on moving on. I'm sure you have seen this following quote online a million times, and the quote is, you become what you think about most of the time. Brian says that after surveying over 1,000 successful people, they asked these successful people what they think about most of the time. The most common answer given by these successful people is that they think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. Aha. That quote is now confirmed. So what do you think about most of the time? I know it is so hard to stay focused in a very noisy world. This is why you must have some rituals in place that activate your memory and your emotions to keep on moving in the right direction. Example, daily morning journaling, daily goal visualization, daily writing of your goals, etc. Got it? Unsuccessful, unhappy people think and talk about what they don't want most of the time. I'm sure you're rubbing shoulders with some of those people in your office, in your marketplace, maybe in your home, and you got to do something about it because you can control your thinking. So think right to get right. Okay, let's keep on trickling along here. Why do people not set goals? That's a very good question discussed in chapter 1 of the book. It's because they think goals are not important, or they don't know how to set goals, or they have a fear of failure, or they have a fear of rejection. Which of these might be your excuse? You think goals are not important? Come on, take a look at the most successful people in your office, the most successful people in your community, the most successful people online that you follow. They are always sharing their goals, and they are always sharing the activities that they are doing to move towards the pursuit and the accomplishment of that goal. There's nothing more important than having a goal. Nothing more important. And I get it that some people don't know how. Well, guess what? You can go to Google. You can go to ChadiBazzi.com. You can go to YouTube. You can go to Yahoo. You can go to anyone you know who is successful, and they will teach you how. So you are responsible. And the third one is they have a fear of failure. Come on. Everyone is telling you the same exact thing. Fail fast forward. Fail fast forward. There is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. Because when you put yourself out there, you get the feedback of what it is that you are doing incorrectly, that you can come back home and or to your office and correct, so you could keep on moving forward towards the accomplishment of your goals. And they have a fear of rejection. Come on, man. Fear of rejection. Look, we are in the people business. Just because someone says, I don't want to work with you, well, guess what? You're not the right cup of tea for every single person, and not every single person is the right cup of tea for you. As a matter of fact, the majority of the people that you are going to speak to are not going to want to use you whatsoever. Your job to get to the yes, to get to the right person to work with, is going through, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, maybe even 100 people who are going to say no. And just remember, they're not saying no to you, and it is not rejection. It's just that they don't need your service in that moment. So which of these might be your excuses? Kill your excuses and embrace your reasons. Now, if I ask any of you, do you want to be happy? Let's talk about happiness. Every single one of you would say yes. And Brian would tell you that happiness requires goals. Why? Because goals give you clarity. Goals activate your burning desire. Goals give you certainty. Goals give you hope. Look, you are either working on accomplishing your goals, or else you're going to spend the rest of your life working for someone who is using you to accomplish theirs. I think I shared some inspiration with you thus far from this book, which meets objective number 2. So let's go to objective number 3, and let me walk you through one exercise from this book, which comes from chapter 2. And I picked that one out of all the chapters because I think this is the one that we seldomly, talk about, and one that we need to talk about a little bit more. And this is where a lot of your breakthroughs are going to come from. And the title of the chapter is Take Charge of Your Life. And, this episode being released, a couple of weeks before the end of the year is a perfect exercise for you to do before you go into 2020. And if you're listening to this in 2020 or any other year, this exercise is definitely a must-do exercise for you in order to continue to move your life and your business to the next level. So, number 1, he says, identify your biggest problem or source of negativity in life today. Identify your biggest problem or source of negativity in life today. Like, think about that question. The answer to that question might pop up right away. And maybe it's something that you got to think about. Once you got it, write it down. And then think about this. In what ways are you responsible for this situation? In what ways are you responsible for this situation? Like, think about it. How are you responsible for that situation? How are you responsible for the problem? How are you responsible for that source of negativity in life today? So when you think about that, what happens when you answer that question is self-awareness. Self-awareness. You begin to take responsibility for where you are today and not where you want to be. Number 2, see yourself as the president of your own company. See yourself as the president of your own company. In reality, you are the president of your own company, regardless of the company you're working for, whether that be a Century 21, a Remax, EXP, Keller Williams. It don't matter which one of those big brands. You are your own brand inside of those big brands. You are your company inside of those big companies. And I need you to begin to see yourself as the president of your own company. And now think about this. How would you act differently if you owned 100% of the shares? How would you act differently if you owned 100% of the shares? See, you do own 100% of the shares, but you don't think to yourself, you don't remind yourself that you are a business owner. And that's how I need you to begin to think here on forward. Number 3, resolve today to stop blaming anyone else. Resolve today to stop blaming anyone else for anything, and instead accept complete responsibility in every area of your life. If that is the case, if you stopped blaming others and accepted complete responsibility in every area of your life, what actions should you be taking? What actions should you be taking? Make that list. Start taking those actions. Number 4, stop making excuses and start making progress. Stop making excuses and start making progress. Imagine that your favorite excuses have no basis in fact and act accordingly. Easier said than done. I get it. Number 5, see yourself as the primary creative force in your own life. You are where you are and what you are because of your own choices and because of your own decisions. What should you change? What should you change? And number 6, resolve today. And this is probably the hardest one of them all, and one that I personally struggled with in the past, but it is what it is. It says, resolve today to forgive anyone who has ever hurt you in any way. Easier said than done. Out of all the points, this may be the hardest one. He says, let it go. Refuse to discuss it ever again. Instead, he said, get so busy working on something that is important to you that you don't even have time to think about it again. Guys, that's how you take charge of your life. There you go. There you have it. This completes this book review on goals by Brian Tracy. Again, I'd like to end this as I always do by saying thank you very much for being a loyal subscriber to this podcast. If you haven't already left us an iTunes review, I would so appreciate it if you leave us, a review. And for those of you who have not downloaded that TLABlackbook.com, which is Top Listing Agent Black Book, simply go to TLABlackbook.com, download it, and get your goodies on how to generate more seller leads every single day for free, and how to convert those leads into appointments, and how to convert your appointments into signed contracts. And when you are ready, I'd love to get on the phone with you, have a little chat, find out where you are in your business, where you're trying to get to, and what is the gap that we need to bridge. And I'll give you that bridge, that mini plan of action to get you to your goals. And you can claim your strategy session with me by simply going to TLAstrategycall.com. Again, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Take care.